lucky number 7 twice, and it is our lucky number 7. We've got Bill Carne for the Pembrokeshire Sports Update. Good morning, Bill.
Happy New Year to you, Tom. It's nice to see you again at last.
We were just saying it's been so long because of
Yeah,
one thing or another that
yeah.
we're finally here together. And Bill, I know that Fraser's interviewed you at length on the Pure Sports show, the Eaton Evans and Morris. But may I say, from all of us on the Breakfast Show, a massive congratulations for your recent acknowledgement and your BEM. Is this right?
Well, thank you, Tom. Yeah, it's a great honour and a great surprise, really. I was overwhelmed by the response. People have been very kind with comments. The comments on Pure West were absolutely astounded. I was astounded by them, and a lot of former students, which I was chuffed with because I always tried to help people in school. So yeah, a big honour.
Yeah. Well, I've been in your circle now for about 2.5 years, and to me, I'm surprised you didn't get it sooner, Bill. Your passion and your enthusiasm for sport in Pembrokeshire is completely unmatched in my view. It's amazing, and the pembrokeshiresport.co.uk just providing all that up-to-date knowledge of sport in Pembrokeshire, I think it's marvellous. So well done, da iawn, llongyfarchiadau from all of us on the Breakfast Show. I think it's wonderful.
Well, thank you, Tom. Thank you
And
very much.
also, Helen Marie, congratulations, Bill, on the comments there as well.
Helen Marie's lovely. Every week she's with us, and lovely it is. It's great.
She is indeed. And so let's turn our attention then to Pembrokeshire Sports, shall we? There's a lot happening at the moment, and not least, we'll start off with Haverfordwest County, shall we? Because for those that might not be aware, the JD Cymru Premier League is at the moment in Phase 1, but from next week it's Phase 2. What does that mean, Bill?
It means that the top 6, they'll separate the top 6, the bottom 6. The top 6 will all play each other home and away. The bottom 6 will do likewise in their section. So the top 6 are playing for the championship and the representative honours that brings in Europe and perhaps smaller competitions in Scotland. And the bottom 6 are playing each other for survival. Let's face it, there might be a small chance of a representative game there. But in the end, that becomes a bit of a dogfight. And, Haverfordwest laid their stall out at the start of the year. They were aiming for a European place. They've come up short of that. I sing the praises still of Tony Pennock, who stepped in as manager, and I think has done a wonderful job there. And I think next year, I hope we'll go from strength to strength as well. They're all trying to move forward. They've appointed, it'll be announced today, a new chief executive officer, which sounds very, very grand indeed for a JD Cymru Premier. So I wish that person every success. I nearly said the sex of that person then, which would have given the show away a bit. But it's another big step. They're playing tomorrow against Carne's Key Nomads at home. They lost 1-0 when they played in Carne's Key, who play at the D-side Stadium. And this is a tough game. Carne's Key is second. They have European experience. They've got a lot of people there who are full-time professionals. So it's a big game for the Bluebirds. The system is, the thing that you have to say is, if they win, then they'll be 7th, providing Carnarvon lose at Aberystwyth. So, it's going to be a tough game tomorrow at the Oggy Bridge Meadow. And Tom, we ought to remind people it's a 5:15 start, which seems unusual, but all the games are being played at that time for this last game of the
I get you. Yeah. And the Bluebirds found themselves in this situation at the end of last season, didn't they? They just missed out on that top 6 spot, but they ended up going into the playoffs. They're performing very well in that Phase 2, and it came down to the last match of the season, didn't it, against Cardiff Met, where they were playing for that top spot of that bottom section, weren't they?
Yeah.
So a bit of deja vu for the Bluebirds again. And as you say, Tony Pennock, he hasn't been in position for the whole season. Oh, he has for this one, has he? I'm just trying to cast my mind back.
Yeah, but he inherited a team rather.
That's right. Yes.
He's brought in another player now who's been playing in Iceland, and I wish him well. He's a fullback, I think, which is not the key position for me that they need somebody. But there we are. They're strengthening their squad, and that's important, Tom, isn't it?
That is important. And you know what? We'll stick with football. Should we go to the Pembrokeshire League then, Bill? It's hotting up there with a top three in Division 1 all going out for the title now. As we crossed the halfway. So what's the story there? Who should we be looking out for this weekend?
Well, Goodwick United's revenge win over Merlin's Bridge last week. I saw the first game when the Bridge won. Throws it wide open again now, and I think it's fair to say it's between Merlin's Bridge, Goodwick and Carew. Carew are way behind in terms of points, but have played so few games. But if they actually won all the games they're behind at
Carew or Hakin now, Bill?
Hakin.
Yeah, Hakin who are playing Carew. Yeah.
Sorry, Hakin. They would be top at the moment if they won all those games, but that's ifs and buts, which makes it intriguing. But the games this weekend, Carew are playing Hakin at Carew. That's the game of the day, 4th versus 3rd. I hope it goes well for both teams and for the referee. Claverston Road, who are 6th, entertain the Bridge. And Clavi are tough prospects, especially at home. And they're playing some good football now after not a very good start of the season. Goodwick look to have the easiest game on paper. They're at home at Phoenix Park against Tish. St. Ishmael's are 9th.
Oh, yeah.
So that, on paper seems a bank or home bet, but you never know with football. But if I had to put my last quid, it'd be on Goodwick for that one. Moncton Swifts are 5th, and they're playing at home to St. Clair's, who are bottom. I was a bit surprised at that, but you never know, do you, with a club that's on the periphery in terms of geography. So we'll see how it goes. Swift's favourite to win that, and then a close one I anticipate at Neyland, the Athletic Ground. Neyland were 8th, played Kilgetty were 7th. And then my old team, when I was playing as a youngster, Penn and Robbins, are 10th, and they're home at Fishguard Sports 8th. And I think it's fair to say both teams need the points there, Penn and Robbins also.
Yeah, there's going to be some exciting fixtures there.
Oh, and there are.
Yeah, and I'm just looking. I think my pick of those matches is probably Claverston Road and Merlin's Bridge, because Claverston Road have proved a bit of a banana skin, particularly for Goodwick, haven't they? Where they've taken, or they've shared the spoils or taken the spoils. And at Merlin's Bridge, particularly after the revenge match last week where Goodwick got the win over them, they might be going into that a little bit tentative, because Claverston Road, as you say, they're performing better than how they started the season.
Yeah, they are, and there's some tense finishes. I mean, if you look last week, Hakin were trailing 1-0. And 1-2-1 in the end. Last 2 goals, Skinny Harding scoring the winner. Lovely pictures of him as an old timer now. I remember his little boy in shorts. Yeah.
So no, I'm very excited for that. And then changing the shape of the ball, then Bill, we've got the rugby fixtures from the Championship all the way down to the Welsh Division 3 Cup actually. So Narberth still performing very well in that top half of that championship, but they're doing very well.
For years, Tom, they've punched above their weight because, they don't have the financial support that a lot of the clubs further up the line do. And Glamorgan Wanderers, interestingly, are 10th now, Narberth are 5th. And Glamorgan Wanderers were one of the top 12, the Super 12 in Wales before the National Leagues. They used to play at the Memorial Ground in Ely. Used to play cricket there at one time. So Narberth on paper should win that comfortably, but you just don't know. That the game of the day in Division 1, undoubtedly Aberystwyth, who are 4th, against Crymych, who are top. So Crymych go up there knowing if they're going to stay at that top. They've done brilliantly this year, then they need to win that one. Pembroke, one can only feel sorry for this year. You shouldn't be in that division, they accept that. But things are going great for the club. They've got a team for every age group right the way through. They're one of the few clubs in Pembrokeshire that have a ladies' team and a seconds team. They do brilliantly. So Pembroke are home to Hendy, who are 9th. And Pembroke, I'd love to see them get a win, but they're getting hammered, and it's not nice for the team. But you talk to Darryl Willingdon, who's the chairman, and he's still very upbeat. And Geraint Lewis, the coach, is a realist. He knows he can't ask any more of his boys. They're giving 100%. So good luck to the Scarlets. And then Whitland travelled to Gowerton in 6th versus 11th. And the Borderers are not having a good season, but they're losing games far closer than Pembroke has to be said.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Tom. Local derby, Milford Haven, who are 11th, played Tenby United, who are 4th. You look at that and you think, that should be a comfortable win for Tenby. But Jonathan Evans, their coach, knows that's going to be anything but at the odds in front of a very vociferous crowd with a Milford team that'll be up for that, you can rest assured.
Yeah.
And Nathan Williams and Steve Martin are on the bench, the coaches for the Mariners, so that'll be interesting. And then Fishguard and Gooding are home to Carmarthen Athletic. They've always been big battles, these, Tom, and they're now respectively 8th and 10th. So that could be a good game to watch. There'll be plenty of running rugby at the Moors, I can tell you that. And then Division 3, the game that I'll watch before I go down to Haverfordwest is Neyland against Langham, local derby. Yeah. Neyland 6th and playing some good rugby will be hot favourites to beat Langham. But it's going to be a battle. And there's going to be a lovely thing there tomorrow. Martin Rees, who was known to all as CFAX, died as a very young man, and he was a great servant for Neyland Sport, held in the highest regard.
Yeah.
And they're opening tomorrow on a little tower there, an official electronic scoreboard, which will be known as the CFAX scoreboard. And it's lovely. Fantastic. So I'm going to be there for the opening of that, because that's very, very moving. He's a good friend of mine, Martin. He's a good friend to a lot of people. So, Neyland, that'll be a moving moment there. Pembrokeshire Quins across the bridge, they're 9th, and they're playing Llanybydder, who are 10th. Fancy the Quins to win that. Mm-hmm. Tough game for St David's at home to Aberaeron. Aberaeron played good rugby. They're 3rd, and St David's have punched their weight this year for sure. They're 7th. And the last game in that section is Tregaron, who are bottom, play Cardigan, who come within our remit just about. I think the Cardies will win that. And of course, another big game then, the West Division 3 Cup. If you remember, they all played in sections. And then the winners go into this sort of playoff thing, this hodgepodge thing, I think. But Haverfordwest did well in it last year, and they're now travelling to Vadre, who are top in Division 3 West Central.
Right.
And Haverfordwest are 5th. They haven't been playing brilliantly. They lost their first 3, then won 6 on the trot, then lost last week to St Clair's, who are one of the best sides in the division. Yeah. So lots of rugby to be played, and let's hope the weather is a bit better than last week, Tom.
Well, indeed. Hopefully it'll be like I got the day. Hopefully it'll be nice and clear and dry, so allow some proper ball in hand rugby and to get it running, and a little bit of entertainment for us, depending on wherever you're heading down to. And if you want to catch Bill, he'll be at Neyland.
And I'll be watching there, Tom. Sorry to interrupt. I'll be watching a young fellow who's the fullback for Langham, who I saw pump 2 huge penalties over in their last game. Very talented young fella, dark haired, curly haired. Good looking, and his name is Dyer as well. Dyer.
Oh, it's in the genes.
Yeah, and nephew and uncle. So yeah, I'm sure you'll be wishing Luke a special good wishes there.
I will be indeed. I do believe he's going to be at fullback for Langham, which is going to be very exciting. So you might even see me down there actually, Bill. And then let's stay in Neyland, shall we? Because on Monday evening it is the Division 1 finals day for the indoor cricket.
Yeah, what Patrick Hannon did very well this year, his first season, he's taken over from Peter Davis, who'd also done a great job. Patrick devised 2 divisions because there were some new teams in, and they played for, I think, best part of 3 months. They played home and away. There's someone calling us a lovely crew there, Denise Dagan. Hello, Denise, that's nice, isn't it?
Burida,
Burida. And the games have sorted themselves out. They've played almost 3 months. They played 2 games against every other team in the section. They've had 10 games. And the playoffs feature, after a very exciting last week, a bit of a shock result at the end. Neyland A, Neyland B, and Pembrokeshire A. And that came about because Neyland B last week caused a bit of a shock by beating Pembrokeshire A, 115 for 3, 110 for 5. Massive game. Scott Griffiths had 65 not out for the Dock, but he couldn't get them through because George Evans and John Tennick had 35 each not out, and Steve Murray had a smashing 25 late on. So that left a situation where, after Haverfordwest had beaten Pembrokeshire B, Will Phillips had a cracking 44 for the Town and Nick Daly 38 for the Dock. It meant that Llanrhian went in their last game, and I thought they were a bit nervous at the start. And they had to play Neyland A, knowing they had to get 3 bonus points to be guaranteed to go through. And they could get that for scoring just over 100 runs or taking 4 wickets. And the score, would you believe, Neyland Llanrhian 37 all out. Carl Davis had 18 of those. Sean and Patrick Hannon, Nathan Banner, all are good bowling spells there. And Neyland got it for naught in about 3 overs. Patrick Bellaby hit in his last over at 6-4, 6-3 to finish it off in style, which meant that Neyland A had done their Neyland B team a big favour. And Llanrhaen lost. I felt sorry for Llanrhaen because they played very well early on in the season, fell a bit back, and missed one game. They couldn't get a team for one weekend, and that on a Monday, and that cost them hugely. I think in the end, I feel sorry for them, but that's the way it goes. You've got to fulfil your fixtures,
That is. So this finals day then, Bill, there's 3 teams all competing together, and one of them has the opportunity to go beyond Pembrokeshire.
Yes, they'll all play each other now on Monday evening. It starts at 6 o'clock. I think the bar downstairs is open. I'm not over keen on that, but that's how it is. And there'll be a live, whatever you call it, where people can watch it on computer if they want to, because they can't be there. So it'll be exciting cricket. And then on the 29th of January at Morrison Leisure Centre, the winners of that will go to represent Pembrokeshire and hopefully Wales eventually, where they play. There's always been 3 leagues. The Cardiff. Hello, Delton Williams. He's contacting us as well. The teams have always been the winners in Cardiff, Swansea, and Pembrokeshire. This year is the winners in Gwent as well. So there's not 3, there's 4. So there'll be a semi-finals and a final, and that draw will be made on Monday evening after the Pembrokeshire one is result is known. Why they've got to wait till then, God only knows. The other teams are already through. Newport Fugitives from Gwent, a very traditional, strong side. They've been going for 50 years plus. Penturk from Cardiff and Anis Tower from Swansea. So good luck to whoever wins that. Tomorrow we'll be talking to people from the winners on Monday, and we'll be featuring them before the finals, the Welsh finals.
It'll be exciting in that Welsh final then. We'll talk about this depending on what happens after the 29th, but there's the opportunity to carry on then and eventually get to Lords and play in a UK competition. So, and I do believe that we've had representatives there before in the past, haven't we? Go all the way.
I think Neyland have been there twice, and I'm not sure if Haverfordwest, when they were in their pomp, they had a hell of an indoor side, and they won it 1 year from Neyland, and Whitland the same, were a strong side. But there's been people no one's ever won it from Pembrokeshire, but we're very regular winners of the Welsh title and gone much further afield. It's got to be total commitment on. I mean, Sundays, but every Sunday if you win after this, you travel, and very often, Neyland before now have been to Yorkshire.
They have.
The Middlesex, you name it. Yeah.
It's wonderful. Delton, who's joined us, he's getting ready for school. Delton, are you taking part in any Pembrokeshire sport over this weekend? That's what we're discussing here this morning. And in fact, Bill, we're gonna head outdoors, shall we? Because of local anglers. I'm seeing a lot of angling talk coming up. I know there's the 14th RNLI angling competition coming up in a couple of weeks' time. But what have you found for us here? They're raising funds for the Wales Air Ambulance.
Well, there's a real character in Pembrokeshire angling called Dr. John O'Connor. He's an ex-vet. He's a character. We've had him on here when we've interviewed him, Ben and I, and Gordon and I. And he's a great character. He loves his angling, his sea angling. He's represented Wales, and he's a huge influence on what goes on. And every year they have these wonderful fundraisers for the Wales Air Ambulance and the RNLI. They're always held at Amroth because the mine host at the Amroth Arms gives them the use of the pub as a headquarters for the day, and they have a wonderful time. But they raise so much money. There were 65 took part in the Wales Air Ambulance competition, including 5 ladies and a handful of juniors, which is lovely to see. And the winner, I'm delighted to see, was an old pupil of mine, Lee B. Rogers from Milford Haven. Lee has been a great supporter of that over the years, and is a good fisherman. So he won the first prize. Only 4 fish caught all the competition.
Oh, wow.
That were above size. Of course, they got to throw the others back, which is nice. And Lee won that, 200 quid in his pocket. Well done, Lee. And the second place was another local lad from Saundersfoot, Frank Atanasio, who's been around a long time with the fishing. But more importantly, there was over £1,400 raised for the Wales Air Ambulance call. And over the 2 decades that's been running, it's closer to £25,000 raised than 20,000. See,
That's amazing.
That's the power of sport, isn't it?
It is. Oh, when sport comes together and has a focus, it is one of the greatest things that you can witness. Like, you just look at things like the Olympic Games and World Championships. It's fantastic. I'm going to skip by one. Well, no, we're going to come back to it. But we talked about this on Monday evening. The MS Society have shared it as well, because you can tell, because the numbers of people watching back and listening to the show is incredible. But Fraser caught up with Steve Roberts, Bill, and you want to share some words on that as well.
I do indeed. Steve's a lovely lad. He's from Neyland. I used to play rugby in school in the same team with his dad, Peter, who was a very, very good rugby player. And Steve's played a lot for Neyland as well, and his brother as well. So, he's been a fit young fella, and to be diagnosed with multiple sclerosis at his age is a body blow. But he's responded to that by saying, I'm going to raise funds for the charity that's giving me lots of help and advice. And he's not only walking the coastal path, he's walking it both ways.
Yeah.
Now, that's a hell of a challenge, and we wish Steve every success. I think I'm right in saying that his target was something like £1,000. But again, the power of the internet, the power of people getting a message out and sharing. I know Neyland Sport in general will give him massive help, and I'm hoping other clubs around the county will do what they've done when I've tried to raise funds. They're fantastic. Make a donation, get collection on the day at a match, perhaps today, and just send that to Steve, via the Just Giving pages. And there's nothing better than for someone. And I know the last time I saw it, he smashed that beyond all probably his dreams at the time. But Steve, I'd just like to say a huge well done. We've done a little feature on him on pembrokeshiresport.co.uk, and I have huge admiration, but not surprised, because if he's like his father with determination, then he'll do even better than he's doing at the moment. So good luck with the well-being, Steve. Good wishes to all the family too.
Yes, definitely. And then to go beyond and one last thing to send well wishes to. In fact, Delton, he's put a song request in for Radio Gaga. It is Feel Good Friday. That song is on the way, so don't go anywhere. Tune in on the ways below. Yeah. But sending well wishes as well to Pembrokeshire's own Jonathan Thomas, who joins up with Warren Gatland's coaching team.
I'm not in the least surprised. I'm hugely delighted. Typical of the young fella. I used to play cricket with him in Stackpole when he was a talented young all-round sportsman and a far better cricketer than I was even then. But I texted him to say, congratulations. Straight back on the phone. We talked about, coming onto the show. Certainly couldn't come next Monday because it's his first day in work with Mr. G. But the week after, and he's lovely. I've seen him coming down to Pembrokeshire to speak at a farmer's dinner on a Monday night, and I bumped into him in Pont Abraham, and he's just going home, and he's come down there, gone back. He didn't charge a penny. He's farming roots with his granddad, and he is a lovely bloke. I hope you'll allow me to tell you one funny little story. When he then became famous and started to play for Wales, after his first couple of games, I phoned him up, and he said, I'm home this weekend. Shall I meet you in Hockey Whites in Haverfordwest, long gone, for a cup of coffee? So we did, and we were on a second cup of coffee, and I could see this old boy looking at us over in a corner. I knew him. His name was Len. And after a while, then he came over and he said to John, and he said, look, I'm sorry to trouble you, mate. Did you play rugby for Wales? And Jonathan preened a little bit. He was a young fella, about 22. And he said, well, yeah. He said, yeah, I do actually. Yeah, he said, you're Michael Phillips, aren't you? And Jonathan took you can ask him that on Monday. Has he ever been mistaken for Michael Phillips in Hockey Whites?
We're going to have to.
And he just took it with equanimity and said, no, I'm not quite as good as him, but I do play from Pembroke. And then we're talking to Len, who's from Pembroke Dock, who was a big Pembroke Borough fan, about him playing. And that shows just what a lovely bloke he is. But he's also a hard man, and he'd push him hard in training too.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. The Six Nations starts in the next couple of weeks, and in fact, the Pure Sports show, the whole Pure Sports team are all working together to bring us the best insights. So, Bill, getting us in contact with Jonathan Thomas. He's joining us a week Monday. This coming Monday, we've got Sean Holly joining us on Monday evening.
I think that's a real scoop. Yeah, I really do. He's a top pundit. And Gordon Thomas gave him a ring. And, we've met Sean at it was the last time, was in St. David's, strangely enough, at Fraser's Club, when it was a question and answer thing, which I chaired. And Sean, he's a very talented pundit and a lovely bloke. Yeah,
so be sure to tune in Monday evening. It's the Pure Sports Show with Ethan Evans and Morris Listers. I'm interested to see what his first team is going, or his second first team is going to look like as they face Ireland in a couple of weeks' time. It all starts on Monday. Bill, as ever, thank you so much for your time on a Friday morning. It's been a bumper one. Yeah, it's been a bumper one because I've missed you, Bill. So it's great to have you back here and analysing the weekend ahead. It's Feel Good Friday. We've got song requests coming up. What have you got for us, Bill?
Well, I like to pick them from the 60s. That's no secret. You know that. And I was listening on the way home from visiting my grandson and Harry, and up popped Concrete and Clay from Unit 4+2. Not Concrete and Play, Concrete and Clay. And it's a cracking song. And I thought, well, I'll share that with you because I do try to show you the good things from the 60s, and this is one of them.
And this is one of them. Bill, as ever, thank you so much. Concrete and Clay is on the way, and Delton Radio Gaga is on the way as well. If you want something played, let us know. 01437 764455, or drop us a message on Facebook, and we'll take it from there. Bill, do it all again next week?
Look forward to that. Might see you on the weekend. Ta-ra, Tom.
Yes. See you, Bill.
Feel Good Friday with Pem's Paving.